It's on you.
You can't wait for everything to be okay to live your life.
You can never lose faith.
You're not as far away from these dreams as you think you are.
It's time to get back to work.
I will never quit.
I'm going to win.
You can outwork anybody.
You should be a monster.
Don't blame any other person or any other thing.
Cowards do that and that ain't you.
Fortify your mind and feel this level of happiness as you rise. That's how you grow.
Say to yourself, it's not over until I win. That's how winning is done.
We have made it to the weekend. It is time to get refocused, remotivated. It's not over till it's over. You decide the outcome. Be strong. Be courageous. Make bold decisions and stand behind them. You don't have to put in a ton of effort. You just can't afford to quit. I wanted to stay on this message because there are some that get bounced back and forth in their trades. And it even feels that way for some right now in crypto who've been just getting into this monumental push up. But now they're just looking at their portfolio and it's down. And they're like, man, I thought I was making good calls. I thought I was going to join the meme rally and make 100, 200, 300x. Don't get it mixed up. Take a moment, breathe, and understand the crypto cycle. And I'm coming in this weekend to answer a couple questions and to give some interesting commentary on some things I see in the market, but also just to encourage you to get refocused. Use this little bit of pullback that we've got on Bitcoin as an opportunity to reorganize. Don't get scared, don't panic, get prepared, and begin to look at what are the best cryptos to get in. And I'm going to do an interesting comparison between two of the most interesting layer one blockchains today. Very brief. It's going to be very concise. We're going to get to the point. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for the likes. If you want to get this type of analysis and inspiration, you got to hit that subscribe button. So I got a question that I want to try to go over and explain. I've talked about it, but because I got the question after I had just talked about it, I thought, well, maybe I need to even be more clear. The question was basically, hey Josh, there's a lot of analysts, one in particular on YouTube that's really good at what he does, and he says that we're not going to get above 80K for this particular Bitcoin cycle. And I like you, and I think you know your stuff, but he is so sure of the fact that we're simply not going to make a significant high in Bitcoin this particular cycle. What do you think about that? One of you have to be wrong. Okay, well, wait a minute. I've actually said something very similar. I totally see what he sees in the charts. And I have been saying on this page for quite a while that there is some trouble between $78,000 to $80,000 on Bitcoin. There's a wall there. And it's not just a wall that is materialized in this last cycle that we went through. It's actually a wall that's been in Bitcoin from day one. I've referred to it as the concept of a diminishing return. I mention it when I talk about the fact that the first cycle popped off with a 16,000% move, and then it went 6,000 and then 600, and a lot of people are expecting that it will stay under a long-standing descending line of volume and momentum. Now, I don't want to say a bunch of words, and then people are like, well, what are you saying? What I'm telling you is that the charts absolutely do not signal right now that there is a breakout. The charts signal that there is a slowing momentum and slowing volume move for Bitcoin, which would allow for a move up to 80K, but no higher. So now we've got to reconcile what the charts are telling us, because the charts are saying that. We've got to reconcile that with what's going on. The institutional adoption. Now, the creator of Bitcoin was obviously a pretty smart guy. He thought a lot about how things would unfold. The halving event, which is another question that I get. People still don't understand the halving. That's okay. It takes time. Basically, there is a reward for processing or solving puzzles. It's what the blockchain is. There's a reward for solving those on the blockchain. And the distribution comes in the form of new minted and new created Bitcoin. And it's given to the miners, right? But after a certain number of transactions have occurred, and that's sort of a timeline, they occur within a given timeline based on use, then the blockchain goes into a new phase where they give away half the rewards that they used to give. Now, this was meant by the creator to coincide with the ramp up or the increase in the perceived value of Bitcoin. Now, it does appear all that's happening, but he believed that by the time we got to this particular moment, that Bitcoin's price would explode. And it's interesting that after we've had roughly a decade or so in crypto, that it does appear that right now we're getting this mass adoption moment with all of the institutions, hedge funds, and all the talking heads and pundits are all believers. I was just talking to Larry Jones, my buddy, over on Stock Up with Larry Jones. It happens to be his birthday today. Everybody should go over there and wish him a happy birthday. Larry is one incredible guy and an amazing friend, and I really value and cherish our friendship. Happy birthday, Larry. But we were talking about the fact that there is even a presidential candidate that really has not been pro-crypto, but he's beginning to soften in some of the things he's recently said. He was going to send me a video that he saw, and he's like, yeah, you know, the guy's got an NFT, and he's talking a little bit more graciously regarding crypto because he's been typically a pro-US dollar candidate. But here's the point. Everybody's getting on board. Everybody's getting on board. When you begin to get the near 80-year-old presidential candidates on board with cryptocurrency, you get BlackRock and Charles Schwab and all the big banks in the world. Everybody's trying to get their hands on it. The fact is, this is mass adoption. And if crypto were ever to break out of that descending volume and momentum wall that it's under, and it is under, you say, I thought it's pumping. It is pumping up until the top of that line, which is at 80K. So the only way that this is going to be a breakout up into 100,000, 200, or 300,000 if this turns out to be the super cycle moment. But if you are any kind of a charter, you've absolutely seen that wall. And so when this guy was asking me about whether I see the wall that the other guy sees, the answer is yes, yes, yes. There's a huge wall at 80K. And for a long time, I believed it. I thought, you know what? We're not getting over it. I'm going to lock in my profits at 80. I was a big buyer in the 20s. 20K, and so I thought, you know what, it's good enough for me to get up to 80 and cash out. That's a massive win. Ride the memes and the alts up as high as I can after Bitcoin tops out, and that was my payday. But the more and more that I'm looking at the horizon, I've got to make room for the fact that we might be in a unique moment, that the creator of Bitcoin may have foreseen that it would take about this much time for mass adoption to occur. And this could be what's referred to as a Bitcoin super cycle, where it breaks the past pattern and creates a brand new high moment. And, I've got a lot that I want to cover with you guys, but I wanted to get that out there. What does this mean specifically? It means that we've got to watch 80K like a hawk. And here's what I want you guys to understand technically. We are in a consolidation period. We've yet to come up and touch that 80K. We're going to make a low in this consolidation period that we're in now. I've defined that to be roughly around 61K. Could be within 1,000 up or down of that number. That's going to be a swing low before we get to that 80K wall. So here's what you need to know. Let's say we get to that 80K wall and a bunch of people sell. People like me, they get a little scared at that 80K wall and they say, you know what, I'm tightening my stop loss and I get kicked out and I'm just going to let it sit and watch it for a while. Prove to me that it wants to break above and close above that wall, right? We see it pull back. Here's what you need to know. I already can foresee this. I understand these charts. We need to make sure that the low that we're getting ready to make in the next 3 weeks, after we go up and hit 80, we can't come back and break that low. So if that low turns out to be 61K, if we make it all the way up to 80, we can't come back and break this low that we're getting ready to make. If we did, then that would be a confirmation to me that the wall wasn't surmountable. The Great Wall barrier, volume momentum barrier, it wasn't surmountable. So that's how I'm going to be watching it. Yes, I see those technicals, but I have an open mind and the willingness to believe that this could be a unique situation with mass adoption and that we could go screaming over that wall. Even if we don't go screaming over that wall, that doesn't mean that the entire crypto run is over. Okay, it doesn't mean that. It means that Bitcoin could move sideways as a more mature asset. It could come back, consolidate at 48, 50K, and it could then vacillate between 50 and 80 for the next couple years, allowing there to be a mega altcoin rally as people begin to say, oh, Bitcoin, it got us here, but it's not the most important thing. Right now, it's the alts, it's the new tech, it's the social meme coins and the communities that are formed around them. That's what they'll say. So if Bitcoin cools off between 80 and 50 and goes sideways, that would be great for crypto. It wouldn't be bad. It would be an initial downswing, no doubt. But eventually, if it then went sideways for the next 2 years, it could give birth to the biggest alt season we've ever seen. I know it's a lot, but you know what? That's the way life is. It's not as easy. It's not one-dimensional. There's not just one side to a coin, right? There's two sides to a coin, and there's two sides to a story. That's why there's a bull and a bear that are constantly facing off and battling this out. I wanted to get that answered. I got a couple other interesting topics, though. I'm going to get into the next question. What about ETH? What about Solana? What about these big altcoins then? If we could potentially have a mega alt season coming around the corner, depending on what happens with Bitcoin, what about them? Who's winning? Is Solana and ETH killer? Well, I'm going to give you a real strong opinion on that here in just a second, but I also wanted to answer a question before I do that on the link that I provided regarding MEXC. Someone asked me, I've got a lot of questions. Someone said to me, Josh, I did some research and they had some folks complaining, some customer service issues. Well, that's true. Everybody's going to have something like that. Do you know that their rating is higher than Coinbase? So even though they have some customer service issues, they actually have a higher customer rating score from an independent research group that analyzes these exchanges. They have a higher customer service score than Coinbase. Now, does that mean that Coinbase is setting the bar so low that about anybody can jump over it? Could be, but I did a lot of research. I'll do an in-depth review of why I like MEXC. And just to throw out a couple answers, it's actually a very large group. They've got a very big customer base. They've survived a couple crypto winters. They didn't go under. FTX didn't really make one. I don't know how long they were around. I have to go back and look at that, but they didn't. This exchange didn't implode. They've got massive liquidity, which means that you can get in and out of sketchy trades like the meme coins. Liquidity is super important. It's got one of the highest liquidities on an exchange, and so there's lots of reasons why I like them. There's a link for them, and you're going to need the NORD VPN link because you need NORD VPN and get that set up so that you can actually access MEXC here in the United States. All right, let's move on. Okay, so here's one of the interesting observations that I want everybody to look at. Now, in all the years that I've been trading crypto, whenever Bitcoin finally cools off, Ethereum would typically get a push because the way it works is that money rolls from the top dog. It kind of rolls down into the following projects. It goes from Bitcoin to Ethereum to key alts, and then eventually you get into your micro coins, and then you'd get into your meme coins. Now, things have been a little bit different this cycle. Changes. Okay, but here's what's fascinating. If you guys recall that when Bitcoin was in trying to break out of the winter phase cycle, I've shown you guys this, it was Solana that was leading the way, right? It preceded the Bitcoin breakout. And here we have Solana getting up to roughly $200 and breaking out, but when you look at Ethereum, it fell with Bitcoin. And so here's the question I'm going to pose to you, and I know the Ethereum folks are going to hate me for it. I've got a big bag of Ethereum and I love it. But you got to look at the charts, man. You can't fall in love with nothing. I don't care if Ethereum's your biggest bag. Listen to me. You should be listening to me more than anybody. Solana pumped when Bitcoin fell. Is Solana the new Ethereum? Does the investment community view, are they taking their Bitcoin gains and rolling them into Solana like they used to with Ethereum? That could be what that means. And so that's a very important question. Solana has got that great leadership, phenomenal messaging. They're definitely one to contend with. They survive anything. And right now, they're pumping when Bitcoin pulls back. And, you know, we're getting higher and higher. And so I just want you guys to be aware of those dynamics. Then I've got one more question. It was actually a conversation between me and my son about the meme coins. Okay, so you know, there were some meme coins on the edge that I were investing in, and I was sort of lamenting to my son. I was like, oh man, this one's down a lot. whew, this one's getting whooped. And, you know, and that kind of led to him saying to me, well, Dad, you know, meme coins are all hype and emotion and positive enthusiasm. They're not built off technology or that type of investment, of analysis of profits and losses. They're built off of emotion only, community-driven hype. And so Bitcoin right now is proving that it's the strength to the confidence that people have. So when it's running up, it gives a euphoric feeling that crypto is unstoppable, and that euphoric feeling pours over into the memes and causes them to rise. So just like we've been seeing, if you're invested in memes and you're wondering why are they down so much, why are they going down more, there are a direct correlation with Bitcoin. And as I've said, that I think Bitcoin's going to be under pressure for a little while longer. Okay, for sure till the end of this month. That's what I'm foreseeing. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exact times of anything. But if Bitcoin's under pressure and if Bitcoin's going down, then your meme coins will go down even more. Just be aware of that. But I think that I've said it. I hope that some of you understand the technicals I've shared. I believe that the initial move that we saw in the meme coins is there's going to be another phase to it. And if we saw 300% in phase one, we'll see at least 300% or more in phase two. And so I'm not in any way getting scared. A couple of my memes coins are scaring me. I'm like, diversification into other projects. But I am buying some of the bigger ones, and I'm looking carefully at some of the small ones. I'm getting ready to take another position in the one that I talked with you guys about, RATS. That's actually RATS. It's a BRC20 Bitcoin ecosystem coin, forgive me. And what's important about that is if Bitcoin did have a major breakout moment and it did get above that 80K, there's going to be just such an incredible buzz around Bitcoin. It's going to be that potential parabolic moment. And at that point, you're going to see anything touching Bitcoin's ecosystem and all these projects that are building on it, including the meme coins built on it. You're going to see them take off. So just a couple thoughts for the weekend. I've got some other cryptos I'm wanting to do a deep dive and introduce to you guys. Of course, I always give some alerts in the Discord. If you don't know what the Discord is, it's a Stock Squad Patreon. It's where myself, Larry, Keenan, and Stockmo are providing trade alerts and technicals. And I made posts last night that could have made people a ton of money on 2 crypto projects. I said, guys, we hit our target. Let's get out. And within pennies on those particular plays, it flushed. It went up like 5 more cents, and then it flushed hard dollars. And so, you know, that's what's happening over there, right? And very timely stuff, locking in profits. You know, if you don't use a stop loss when the market's pulling back, everything that you own, your entire portfolio will come down. Everything that you own will come down. And so there's a reason to use stop loss. There's a reason to do long accumulation. I try to give insights into my thinking on those in the Discord. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Peace and blessings. Take care. See you soon.